Welcome to the Spilled Ink and Coffee Show, where we take book discussions to a new level.
We don't just read books, we interview them, journal about them, sip coffee, spill thoughts, and explore stories on and off the page.
Grab a cup and get cozy, because every book deserves a great conversation.
We're here with a community that's been warm and welcoming, talking books, talking with local authors, and of course, talking about coffee in this wonderful space Miss Gina has brought to the community. It's our first stop on our live tour. Welcome to Sherburne, New York, and the beautiful historic Sherburne Inn. Everybody, we are here at the Sherburne Inn, and I'm meeting with Kathleen Yasas. She is an author who resides here in Sherburne.
I do.
I love this. And the first thing I said to her was, Harry, is he a Chihuahua or on your shirt?
Harry was a stray who came to me by accident. I had a couple of cats. I had no interest in getting a dog. I traveled a lot. And he, a friend of mine, I was having a drink with. In fact, I had probably too many drinks because I'd said, yes, I'll take him. He said this little dog showed up on his property in Smyrna, which is, you know where Smyrna is.
I do.
And he said we couldn't keep him, so I took him to the dog pound, and he escaped and ran 4 miles and was picked up by some rescue people who already had 4 dogs. So they brought him back, and I said, well, what's going to happen to him? He said, well, he'll probably be destroyed. And I said, I'll take him. So I didn't see him. The next morning I woke up thinking, what was I doing? Mike brought him over, and that was 15 and a half years ago. So everybody asked what kind of dog he was. I had his DNA done. He is part Scotty, part poodle, part Pom, and part Westie. Looks just like a Chihuahua.
That's amazing. So you're saying to me the recipe for Chihuahua are those 4 breeds?
Apparently. Everybody who sees him thinks he's a Chihuahua.
Miss Kathleen is an author, and she's given me 2 beautiful paperbacks to look at. And then we just started how Harry
came into the third one will be in my hands probably next week.
This is exciting.
Yeah, and that one's called The Cookie Tree. It started out actually being a book about him, and then I realized the most traumatic thing that ever happened to me, thankfully it was the most traumatic that's ever happened to me, was in high school. I had a bunch of girlfriends, and they dumped me the summer after 9th grade. And I was destitute. I was draped over I will never have another friend. I shall be alone for the rest of my life. And of course, 3 weeks later, I had new friends, and I had a great life. But that changed me. And so as I'm starting to write this book about Harry, I realized that's something that I had never written about. And I've been writing all my life. So it segued into what if, instead of going this way, which I did, with a great life and friends and travel and so on, I went this way. And that's what this character does. Margaret goes this way, and she's bitter, hates these girls who are still kind of around. She lives with her mother in a big house, and her mother dies, is dead at the beginning of the book. And Margaret has now got to navigate life without her best friend, who is her mom. And then Harry shows up one Christmas. And so it's the story of how he's the change agent in her life. It's about her spiritual redemption, really, and forgiveness. So that's the book that's coming out, which is why I put this on.
How did we get a cookie, tree, and a dog all together?
The character's mother, every Christmas, had a little tree outside, and she would make cookies and hang it from the tree for Santa's reindeer. So when Harry arrives, it's cold, it's a blizzard, and he takes a cookie off the tree. So that's where the name Cookie Tree comes from. And that's how he ends up at her house.
Who's your publisher?
I was in publishing for 40 years in New York. I was a medical publisher. We owned our own business. And, you know, to be honest with you, it's hard to market your own book. So these are all, I'm the independent publisher on these. So
Which is amazing. We love talking with our independent friends, 100%.
Well, I went the traditional route for a while. I had an agent for a while, and I wrote another book that I'm going to put out, I think, probably end of next year. And she shopped that around to the big guns, Random House and Scribner, and I was all excited. And they came back with great feedback. They just didn't buy it. And so she was not interested in what my true love is, which is murder mysteries.
So let's talk about these books. All right, we have these murder mystery books that are sitting in front of me. This is the first one that
This is the first
Okay, so the first one is called I Did It for Alice. And the picture, and we'll put the pictures up, everybody will see these. The outline of the body and a question mark with some little blood, dripping down. And it is a Kelly Quinn mystery.
Kelly Quinn is a detective, a guy flawed, of course. He used to drink too much. He's not really doing that so much anymore. He's got a very mouthy secretary, little bitty office, and he gets a phone call from an old friend of his who is actually an old girlfriend who says they were classmates, he and this woman, Dinah. And she says, people in our class are dying. And he's like, people die. What do you want from me? Although he's very happy to hear from her. And she said, no, something's not right. So she actually hires him to start investigating what is going on with these classmates. And so that's the basis of the story. The reason there's a question mark is because there's a murder in California, in Minneapolis, in Long Island, in a small town. Most of my settings are small town like Sherburne because, of course, you have to write what you know. So anyway, there's a question mark left at every murder scene. And what inspired that, not that you asked me, was there was a real-life murder, the smiley face murders. I don't know if you ever heard about them.
I did not.
But whenever there were murders, and this was quite a few years ago, the murderer would leave a smiley face, which is, could be a very fun little thing. We all use them on our phones. But to see that at a murder scene is really quite terrifying. And so that I thought would be interesting if somebody left a question mark. So the big question is, why is this person leaving a question mark, and what does the question mark mean? So it was originally called The Question Mark Murders. That was its working title. And then I changed it to I Did It for Alice, which after you read this book, which I hope you will, you'll understand why.
Where does this book start us off at? Where's home base? Where, before we travel?
Physically, where's home
Yes.
base? Small town called Sanford, New York. Not unlike Sherburne, although bigger. Not quite this small, like 5,000.
Okay.
A made-up town in my head. It turns out there is a Sanford, New York, but I don't know where it is and had never heard of it until after this book was published.
Because you're from downstate, I can hear
No,
your
I'm
accent.
from upstate.
Are you really?
I'm from Sherburne.
Get out of town.
I was born and raised, went to school here, went to college at Brockport near Rochester, and
Really?
then moved home. And I was lucky enough that my parents paid for my college education. I don't know where they got the money from. And I was in my bathing suit, sitting on the front lawn, reading a book, getting a suntan. And my father came outside, got in my face, and said, "Get a job." And so I hopped up, and my friend Jackie and I moved to New York. And then I moved to Florida, and then I moved to Houston, and then I moved to Arkansas because I was following a guy around. And then the guy and I broke up, and I moved back to New York City, where I lived for 30 years.
That's where your accent is coming
I
from.
can't believe you hear a New York accent?
I
Really?
do. So
my.
we're Long Islanders.
Oh,
My
where?
mom's from Brooklyn, actually.
Okay.
So everybody who's listening, New York State is really big. When people think of New York,
Yes,
they
it is.
immediately go to Manhattan.
They do.
And that is not the case at all.
That's correct.
Upstate New York is a thing. So when everybody says I lived in upstate New York, but then I moved to New York, that means we're talking about the city, New York City.
Right.
And I can hear
Oh,
that
really?
you've been there. Absolutely.
Go ahead. Well, I used to have a southern accent. I lived in Arkansas for 2 years, and I was up here fixing to go to the store. So my accent's kind of
It's all over the
It's
place.
a little here. It's a lot New York. It's a little bit southern.
Kathleen is eclectic, and we love that.
I am.
We do. We like this. So your writing journey, what first drew you into storytelling?
I remember being a little girl sitting on the swing set in the backyard by myself, telling myself stories. My father was a smoker, and I remember being in my room with a Q-tip like it was a cigarette. Of course, I was watching my dad smoke. I didn't light it or anything. And I was so young, I couldn't write yet, but I was just scribbling in a journal. So I don't know. It just came with the territory. Nothing in particular inspired me. I was just always sort of a storyteller. I have an idea in my head, and then of course I was a journalist for a really long time. I was a medical journalist for a long time, but I was a newspaper reporter in Arkansas. So I've been writing. I was in college. I got accused of plagiarism once because my professor said you couldn't have written this. And that sounds kind of braggy, but it's true. I'm really a pretty good writer.
You're born to write.
I was. Yeah.
You're born to write.
I was.
What would your younger self say to your older self about your writing?
I think my younger self would probably tell me that she never knew I would write this much, that I could write this much. I can write a lot. I just have to sit down and do it.
That's the kicker, isn't it?
That is the kicker.
That is the kicker. Let's go to the second book in the Kelly Quinn mystery, which I ask about the New York accent because as soon as you started describing this book to me, I said, oh, I can picture him. He's a New York detective.
He's from here.
He's
but
got the accent.
He's tall. He's good looking. He's kind of I describe him in the book as a combination between John Hamm. I was a big Mad Men fan. John Hamm and Jimmy Fallon. You know, he's kind of he's a good looking, sarcastic kind of guy, but he's a little silly. He's a little goofy. So he's that interesting, brooding comedian kind of guy.
So Kelly Quinn's second book, Mysteries here, Murder at Cricket Lake.
Kelly's family owned a house at Cricket Lake, which his father left to him, which I refer to in this book. And then, so he and his family members, his secretary, decide to go up to Cricket Lake for Christmas time. And they know that there had been a murder in that house many years before. What they don't know is that the murderer is still around. And he has got an obsession with this house. It's a guy. I'll tell you that right off the bat, the murderer. And he's got an obsession with this house. And they get snowbound. And the guy comes back.
This is that cozy by the fire.
Correct.
Let's get...
You can tell I like Christmas time.
I can see this.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
well,
good.
I like winter. I'm a winter person. I like fires and warm clothes.
Put your film noir music on in the background.
That's right.
Which is very exciting. The third book in this series.
Third book in the series is called The Missing X. X.
The letter X.
Kelly is approached by his ex-mother-in-law because his ex-wife has disappeared. And she was nothing but trouble. She's referred to in both of these books too, the ex-wife. I mean, I kind of carry some of that through because I always know where I'm going with the next one. And he is, this mother-in-law hires him to find her. And this one takes place, it starts here in Sanford, here, and ends up on Long Island because Dinah, his girlfriend, has a house on Long Island. She's a writer. And so she's divorced well and has got a lot of money. So she's got this nice house in Brookville, which is near where I used to live. And Kelly is trying to find his ex-wife. But I'm only halfway through that. But I know how it's going to end. I always know how it's going to end.
Okay. I'm glad I don't know how it's going to end. I like that we named him Kelly. That's actually, I know this name as a teenage boy's name from the 60s, 70s time period. How'd you come up with this name for your character?
I don't remember how I came up with Kelly Quinn.
That's okay.
But there's a movie called The Man Who Invented Christmas.
Yes.
Christmas. Listen to me with Christmas.
No, we were just talking about that today because he actually sees and talks to his characters, which is why I asked
you this.
He does.
And he also collects names. You know, toward the end, he's like, your name is Copperfield? Because, of course, it's about Dickens. And so I'm a name collector, too. So somewhere along the way, I collected that name. And I write them down. So when I saw this movie for the first time, I thought, oh, my gosh, look at this. I do the same thing. I write. I'm certainly not comparing myself to Dickens. But, it's amazing that
it's the process of a writer that we're talking about.
It is part of that process. That's right.
Now, friends, don't kid yourselves. She is being extraordinarily humble because I'm looking at the back of the jacket, and she was selected as a semi-finalist for the Elixir Press Fiction Award for this book. I mean, that's not anything to be so humble about. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
And that's very exciting to see a woman who is an independent publisher who is taking control of her artwork, her storytelling, and winning awards with it on her own merit.
I don't know. The story is more important for me than that kind of thing. It is, If I win a Pulitzer, we'll talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
But people
I don't think I will.
People are taking notice, and that's really what that important thing is. Let's talk a little bit about your creative life. Okay. Because you write a lot, and I did peek in the jacket, and I see you've got a few genres of books listed in there.
The two genres I really like are not gory murder, but murder mysteries and literary fiction. So those are the two things I'm doing. The Kelly Quinn, and I have another idea for a different murder mystery that he's not involved in, but I haven't quite gone there yet. Those are my two. That's where my mind goes. Gina has said to me so many times, you've got to stop talking about somebody getting murdered. And I said, I can't help it. It's where my mind goes. It's awful, but it's the truth. I think it's the solving of the murder part that I like.
Right. You're the detective, not the murderer. That's really
correct.
what it comes down to. Now, folks, we haven't talked to Gina yet, but you'll get her interview later. And she is the lovely woman of the Sherburne Inn Cafe, Restaurant, and soon-to-be boutique hotel. And she's filled her cups with wonderful brews. And how do you fill your, shall we say, creative cup? Because sometimes you hit writer's block. How do you work through that?
I have never had writer's block. It's the truth.
Wow.
And if I run into a little bitty wall, which I have actually in The Missing X, I had a section I didn't know what to do with, I get in the car and I go to Maine every year. I drive 10 hours to visit friends of mine, and then I drive 10 hours back with the dog curled in the seat and the radio off. I've written a whole book. I wrote this whole book in my head. People always say writing is so hard. I just don't find it all that hard. So my creative cup gets refilled when I'm in the car.
And I want to go back to where you say people say it's so hard to be a writer. It's never hard to do something you love
I agree completely.
or are passionate about.
That is correct.
That's do what you love, people. So of your main characters of the books that you've written thus far, pick one main character that's your favorite. Even if
I'm
it's
really
Mary.
crazy about Kelly.
Great. So Kelly,
But
what?
Kelly has a mother. She's in her 80s, early 80s, and she's based loosely on my friend Gloria's mother, whose name was Billy, and Billy was Auntie Mae. She's now passed away. She was this flamboyant pianist, hello darling, tell me everything about yourself kind of person. And so I based Beverly, which is this character's name. She wears kimonos and she smokes with a cigarette holder, even though she doesn't actually smoke anymore. She just has the holder in her hand all the time. She wears turbans. She drives her son crazy. She's very smart. She's lovely, but she's kooky. And if I had to pick one, I think it'd probably be her.
Good, because now I'm going to ask you, embody Beverly and walk up to Gina, and what order would she place?
Oh, geez. The most flamboyant cup of coffee that Gina has on her menu. And I don't even drink those kinds. I'm drinking decaf. So I don't even drink those kinds of coffee. She would order something outrageous.
Which author living would you most love to sit down and have a cup of decaf
Not a
with?
hard question. Stephen King.
Wow.
Huge Stephen King. I've communicated with him when I was in Arkansas. He had just wrote Carrie, and he'd written Salem's Lot, which I had read. And my sister insisted that I read it, and I said, it's about vampires. I'm not interested in reading this. It is nothing about vampires. Yes, there are vampires in it. It's about small towns. And that's one of my true loves, obviously. Here I am back in Sherburne. So I wrote him a very audacious letter and said, hello, I'd like you to send me a hardbound copy of Salem's Lot, please, and engrave it to my sister, sign it to my sister, and here's a $13 check. And he sent the book, and he said, I'm sorry it doesn't have a jacket. And if I ever get to Blytheville, Arkansas, you can buy me a cheeseburger and a bottle of bud. And so I dashed off a letter, because there was no email then, well, you can be sure you're going to get more than a cheeseburger and a bottle of bud, and dropped it in the mailbox and thought, oh no, that didn't sound right. And so I saw him many times after that, not personally, but I saw him at the Plaza Hotel, and I went up to him and had him autograph a book, and I said, I'm the woman who wrote the thing about the cheeseburger and the bottle of bud in Blytheville, Arkansas. And he actually took a step back. And I was horrified. I'm like, I am blowing this. And then he wrote Misery. And I thought, well, okay, it's about me. He thinks I'm this crazy fan.
No!
And then I had a friend who was the president of the American Booksellers Association. And she took me into the green room at the Plaza Hotel. And Stephen King was in the green room. And I said, I'm going to straighten this whole thing out. And I had all these things I was going to say. And I handed him the book to sign. And he said, what's your name? And I said, it's Kathy. And that's all I... So I would like to sit down with Stephen King and have a nice long chat with him about all this and let him know that I'm not a nut.
Okay, so Stephen King, if you're listening, we hope you are.
Oh, he'll run for the hills, believe me. I have a picture of myself in front of his house in Maine with the dog. It's ridiculous.
Kathleen loves you, and she's adorable, and she's friendly, and she's kind, and she's
I'm not
wonderful, and she's drinking decaf for crying out loud. What can she possibly do on decaf?
Yeah, really.
So, Stephen, that's amazing.
I'm a big fan.
Finish this sentence. The world needs more
Kindness.
That's enough said. Where can the listeners follow you online and stay connected?
I have a website that's not live, but it will be shortly. I'm kind of waiting for the cookie sheet to arrive. It's KathleenYasas.com, and it should be live probably next week. And my email, I mean, I'm happy to take emails from folks, kyasas@aol.com. And it's kyasas@aol.com.
Well, where can we buy your books?
Well, you can buy them on my website.
And we're going to leave it at that. Miss Kathleen, you have been wonderful.
Thank you.
It was such a pleasure to speak with Kathleen. Her website is live. You can go there now. Order the books. They're available to you. They'd be great gifts for the holidays or just for yourself. Our next guest, her name is Jade, and she has brought a very intriguing, colorful book with her to share with us here at the Sherburne Inn. Jade, tell us what you're reading.
So the series that I've been reading is the Wolf Song series by TJ Klune, and it's a 4-book series. I just got to the 4th book, so don't spoil it. I will find out. But it's been great. It's a different kind than I've read in the past, so it opened me up to new work of art, I guess I could say it.
What do you normally read?
So I usually go for adult fantasy, fiction. I've even read a couple mysteries here and there, but mainly like the fantasy genre.
What's the genre of this book?
So this one, I really don't know how I'd classify it. It's probably an adult romance, but you've also got the fantasy aspect in it. Apart from it being a whole different world, so it can be difficult to clue in on, but once you read it, you'll see if it works for you or not.
This is a physical book. Have you ever read anything by TJ Klune before?
No. And now that I've read him, I will probably read all of him.
It's interesting. This is, Rachel's not here. She's the other half, the other co-host of the Spilled Ink and Coffee Show. And her husband reads a lot of this author. She picked up The House in the Cerulean Sea, loved it so much. Then she picked up his book, The Bones Beneath My Skin. Hated it, passed it to me. That one is a sci-fi. I cried so hard. It was so good. It's in the top 3 of my books of the year. So TJ Klune, now this is interesting because you're giving us the Green Creek series from TJ Klune, which
Right.
I know nothing about, but I loved what I read from him before. What made you pick this series up?
So the story of it, I was browsing the books in Walmart, like a lot of us probably do, and I saw the cover. You know, the cover page and the art will draw you in, but the art style was totally different than what I've seen before. So I read a little bit about it in the description. I'm like, cool, let's get it. It's got werewolves in it. It's got that fantasy aspect. That's something I love. I'm down. Let's try it. Let's give it a shot. And then I probably finished the first book in less than a week.
The artwork is beautiful. I love how these are painted. It has a little shimmer to it. What were your first thoughts when you started reading? We're going to say, are we talking about book 3 right now, or we're going to talk about book 1 through 3?
I'll talk about book 1 real quick. The beginning part of it, I was like, okay, I ran with it. I liked the characters a lot and the development of the characters, their past, the troubles they ran through. And then I hit the middle of the book and it twisted in a way that I wasn't ready for. And I'll just say, this book is probably not for young adults. It's probably for the older adults to read. But it was different in the fact that the romance, we typically have between a man and woman, and it wasn't like that at all. So we had the man and man come together, and from 2 completely different worlds, and it was just magic. And it was very cool to see that in the writing and the style of how this author displayed that magical world and the thoughts of these beasts. It was great. I like that interpretation.
So did the book hook you right away, or did it take time to get into it?
I hooked right away. Probably it was like chapter 1, 2, and then by the time I looked at the clock, I was on chapter 15 again, so I ran through it really quick.
What stood out to you about the writing style of T.J. Klune?
I think that it just feels so real. I mean, you're reading this conversation between these characters, and you feel like you're in the middle of it. You're laughing with them, you're crying with them, you're feeling their pain, gasping at the situation. You were very present with that character and what they went through.
And speaking of characters, who's your favorite character and why?
I like Rico a lot. You'll hear of Rico as you get into the first book a little bit more, but he was hilarious. Oh, I guess you say is, because I'm still in the 4th book.
Okay, so Rico's still with us.
Rico's still with us. He's still making me crack up, and
that's why he's your favorite, because he's humorous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love that his name is Rico. I feel like Rico would be a funny name. Were there any characters or still characters that you dislike or find very frustrating? Now, those could be two different characters, one you dislike and one that's frustrating, or it could be the same one.
I think I get frustrated by one of the main characters, Joe Bennett, a lot, because it feels like he twists emotionally really easy. So it can be hard to follow what his thought is throughout the books plural. It gets a little bit better as you go. The first book really hones in on him more, because each book has a different perspective on different characters. It's told from a different perspective. The first book we have the main character, Ox, his perspective of the story. And the second book is a different person's perspective, but in the same setting, the same characters, the same family, same situations. So it's cool how it shifts, because you get to really know personally each character and how they feel.
And because you're in that personal relationship with, remind me the name of the character who's frustrating.
Joe. I haven't had Joe yet.
So he's the one that you're having the frustration with, because he's just emotionally all over the place or unavailable?
I feel like unavailable. I'd like to get to know his emotions a little bit better, and maybe I will in the 4th book. Maybe the 4th book is his perspective, and I just haven't started it yet. But I'm excited to get there.
Now, from books 1 through 3, because 4 is not done, most powerful or memorable scene thus far?
It's kind of spoiler alert, so if you don't want to hear this part, take it off for take your headphones out for 30 seconds. When Ox becomes alpha of all of these lost wolves and the power that he emanates, and he not only becomes alpha of that, he's an alpha already, and that's not possible for a human to do. So it was just amazing to see that.
So this is a story about transformation on many different levels.
Right. Yup. We've got the physical transformation, emotional, the relationships are moving all the time. And the bonds between these people and these characters is a lot what TJ talks about a lot. The bonds are really strong.
So what would be the main idea of the books?
I'd say the main idea, if it comes down, if you want to put one word on it, it's family. Crazy enough, right?
That's unexpected. I wasn't
right?
expecting that to be actually the answer.
So
that it comes down to family. Did the books so far make you think differently about anything? And when I say this, I mean, here you're reading these 3 books about now family and transformation. Has this changed your perspective on something personally or in the world?
I think in the world-wise, it's changed my perspective on relationships and how we carry those and bond with those near us. But it also changed my thought on what I like to read and the genres I like to read. Because you pick up this book, you read the description on the back, and what happens is totally different from what you read. So I think it was just an unexpected
Life is unexpected,
item. So,
isn't
yeah.
it? Life is just unexpected everywhere you turn. Is there a quote or a passage that you can remember or that stuck with you?
Here's one I like, but I don't know if it's my favorite because I like a lot of them.
Oh, that's hard. It's hard to pick your favorite. So give us
Super
one that
hard.
you strongly like.
I guess this one can kind of stand to the books itself. Monsters are real, magic is real, the world is a dark and frightening place, and it's all real. Pretty powerful.
It is powerful. What does that mean to you?
I think, if you were to think in our perspective of what our world is like, because this is a completely different world in the books, I think monsters absolutely are real. In today's world, you have to be careful now, and it's not what it was. But I mean, when you do have those connections, those bonds, relationships, you could really have magic and see that. I've never picked up a book and read something like that. And even just reading the description on the back, it doesn't plainly say, oh, this is that. Then you get into it and you explore when you read.
So repeat that again. These are two what characters?
Queer characters.
Got it.
Is
So
how he describes it.
That's great. So that way everybody can understand who's listening, because this is not marketed as an LGBTQ book. Very nice.
But he did it in a beautiful way, and I think we need more books like that.
Let's go back to talking about the cover art. Does this truly represent the story? Do you think each cover thus far has really represented the book?
I do, because it does show, the main cover art is mainly one of the wolf beasts on it, one or two of them. And it portrays them correct as far as like color-wise and how they're feeling, I think, throughout the book. We have the first and the second book. Those characters mostly felt alone. And then we get to the third and fourth book, and then you see they're with another. So you can see the bond is coming through later into the story of a family.
On the back of the book, I can see the cover of each of them, and they are, one is just as beautiful and unique as the next. I would hang those up as artwork in my house for sure. Would you recommend this book? Why or why not? The series is what we're talking about. Would you recommend it? Why or why not?
I would definitely recommend it. If you've never read anything like that before, but you're open to it, go for it. If you're not open to it, go for it. You won't know what you like and you don't like until you pick it up and you read it.
Who do you think will enjoy this series the most?
Again, it is an older adult book, I would say, because there are some moments in there, but I think it would bring a lot of joy to that LGBTQ plus community to see something out there that's relative to them, because I feel like, and as far as like the main fantasy, a strong 4-book series, we don't really see that as much. So I think they would not only like to see that community to be represented in that way, but I think it's something that we can open ourselves up to in the reading world too now.
And I agree with you 100%. Do you think this would make a better movie, or would the genre and the saga make a better television series?
Oh, I think a series. I think everything that happens in these books and the time frames that they go through, I don't think they'll portray right in a movie.
So we're going to put this poll out as a question for everybody. Read the first book, or if you've read the books, who would you cast in the TV series as Ox and Joe? We want to know. We need to know. We need to know this. I love that. Will you read more from TJ Klune?
Yes, absolutely.
If your book could whisper one secret to the author, what would it be?
I think it would say be proud.
Wow.
Be proud of the work that you put out and the work that you put in. A lot of people like this book and are following you, so keep going.
What will the reader find within the pages that they didn't expect?
I think that they're going to get affected emotionally more than they would expect. The book and the series will take you on a whole tour of your emotions.
If books 1, 2, and 3 had a smell, what would it be?
I think the first book, one of the main characters, he mentions, I believe he mentions sunshine, and that's what I think it would smell like. I think it would smell like sunshine.
Wow. I'm going to ask you another one. Which character would have the worst dating profile?
Oh boy, probably Carter Bennett. He tries.
Okay. Is there a villain in these books?
Yes.
So if the villain had to survive a modern day corporate office job, what would their role be in the corporate world?
He'd probably be CEO. He'd be running the whole thing.
Oh, that gives us some insight into the book. Any final thoughts on this that you want to share with everybody?
Definitely check out this author. Check out the series if that sounds like something you're interested in. If you're not, give it a look. Give it a quick read and see if that's something that you'd like, because it was a whole different ball game once you get a few chapters in.
Well, thank you, Jade, for joining us. And I have for you a very special book from the secret shelf.
Everybody wants to know what's the book from our secret shelf, but it's a secret. Do you want a book from our secret shelf? It's easy. Just go to our website, thespilledinkinccoffeeshow.com. Scroll down and just click the link. Order it for yourself or as a gift, perfect for the holidays. Our next guest is a first grade teacher at the Sherburne Earlville Elementary School here in Sherburne, New York. Please welcome Toby, or as her students know her, Mrs. Hess.
Test 1, 2. Please say test 1, 2.
Test 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7.
No. Rachel and I had this whole conversation about 6,
So
7.
annoying.
Unfortunately, we lost our entire conversation about 6, 7, and we were talking about the evolution of trends and memes with kids. And she said the 6, 7, and I'm doing the hand motion, people, is off the chart. Now, mind you, she's a virtual teacher, and she's still getting smacked in the face with this 6, 7 stuff.
Every day.
And it doesn't end.
Nope. Every
And
day.
I don't think this one's gonna end.
No. So in math class, because they're first graders, so we have to start, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we stop, and then we'll count down from wherever I stop. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then if I stop, we'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, go back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7.
They stop at 6, 7.
At 6, 7, and they all laugh, and I lost them. I have to start all over again.
So friends, we're talking with Toby. She's a first grade teacher here at the Sherburne Earlville School, and we're at the Sherburne Inn, and we are still talking about the 6, 7, and even first graders are having problems counting to 10 because when they get to 6,
6, 7.
I can't imagine.
So at lunch, I tell the kids, because at lunch they say it too, I said, I'm starting a new fad. I said, 7-Eleven. So they start saying 7-Eleven here and there.
And then you need to add in. You need to add in this. Slurpee.
Yes.
And then it will make more sense. And that will be the new meme, and we can be done with 6, 7. So
Yes.
somebody get 7-Eleven and Slurpee in there for me, please.
I don't know if they would understand the Slurpee thing.
It doesn't
'cause
matter.
there's no 7-Eleven around
It
here.
won't matter because they get to do the sound.
Uh-huh.
It'll be the sound effect that gets them.
I'll do it. I'll try it, since they do with
I
it.
can't wait. Let me know. Toby, what is the title and author of the book today?
The Big Green Book of Beginner Books by Dr. Seuss.
You're using this in your classroom.
Yes.
So this is going to be a talk from a teacher's perspective and how we use this book in a classroom, which I think is really important because I'm a teacher, Rachel's a teacher. We have a lot of listeners and followers who are teachers. Do you use this as a physical book in your classroom?
I do.
What made you pick this up for your classroom?
Well, I was looking in the library for something that the kids can decode easy, because there's not many decodable readers out there.
I think you need to explain to our listeners the definition of decoding.
It means that you can tap out the sounds of the words or letters and put it together to make the word. So for an example, will, like I will go to the store, will, it, oh. and you can tap it out, meaning tapping your finger, one finger on your thumb, pointer finger on your thumb, middle finger on your thumb, and then your ring finger on your thumb for that simple word, and then put it all together and say will. So if they can tap out the sounds and they can put the sounds together to make the word, our decodables is what decoding a word is, which when you look at a decodable reader, they have many words that you can tap out and know the sounds of, and they're not what we call trick words or sight words, where there's some things that you need to know either by heart and just know how it's set or what it says and how it sounds, versus something that you can tap out and put together to read. So decodable, if you are an author, you want to do decodable books. That is something that I know schools are looking.
There's a need for this particular, I'm not going to say genre,
Style.
but a style of writing that teachers in what grades?
Kindergarten, first and second for sure. You can get decodables, in reading programs. And of course your school has to buy the program, which, is thousands of dollars, whatever. And they only give you a certain amount of decodables. But if it would be neat if there was other different sets or series of decodables out there that the kids could go to the library and pick out and know that they can read these books, because there's a lot of other, they'll go to the library and we'll say to them, go to the library, pick out a book, and you have to read at least 5 words. Pick out 5 words you can read, and if you can find 5 words you can read, then that's a good fit book for you. Then that's a book that you could probably read and take out and read, in the classroom without a lot of support.
And that's a wonderful thing for a child, because the confidence that they gain from knowing that they can read is exponential and priceless. So you picked up this Dr. Seuss book because it's not part of a reading program that the school had to purchase, and it's readily available to your students.
Right. So not every Dr. Seuss book, you have to look for more the beginner ones of the Dr. Seuss books for that grade level, because there are ones that are more complicated and different words that you wouldn't be familiar with. But the beginner books of Dr. Seuss has a lot of good tappable decoding words. It also is good for rhyming, because in first grade we talk about rhyming words and what they are and what they look like and why they rhyme. So Dr. Seuss does a lot of rhyming in his books. So that is another teaching, not strategy, but a teaching skill that we need to teach them, which is a good book to use that for. The illustrations are funny. The kids, they're first graders, kindergartners, first graders. They don't really look at the illustration in depth. I know there has been controversy on Dr. Seuss, and they have taken out 6 of his books. I think today's world, we get a little bit too wrapped up in
the cancel culture.
Yes.
That's what's happened.
And it's just, you're taking away some classic stories. I mean, Dr. Seuss is not just the only one. There's other ones out there that we have now banned it from our libraries because
of the cancel culture.
Yeah.
Which is sad. Sticking with the Dr. Seuss point, no, you're fine, because that hurts your heart. It hurts a lot of us who love books and, literacy. But with Dr. Seuss, they're doing more than just taking away things from the children and their imaginations. They're taking away their opportunity to learn and to practice reading. Because of all the books thus far out there, those are the ones that you have chosen to put into your classroom for decoding.
And the places we will go.
The places you'll go. Yes.
That is one of the books that many graduates actually read at graduation, which I find very.
We're still connected to Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
In today's world.
Yes.
As a senior in high school.
Yeah. So going back to the earlier books of Dr. Seuss, the beginner ones, they're more simple. And the other piece I like about the Dr. Seuss books are there's a lot of pages in Dr. Seuss's the beginner ones. There's probably about 15 to 20 pages. And yes, there's only maybe about 4 short lines on each page. But that makes, I feel like the child feels like they're accomplishing something big because of all the pages. You know, they always see some other students might be in chapter books already. And they'll look at the chapter books and be like, I want to read that book. And they're not ready for that book yet. So when they see one that has so many pages in, they're proud of themselves because they can read it. So they're thinking that, you know, even though it's not a chapter book, it's kind of a chapter book to them, if that makes sense to you.
It makes a lot of sense. And the book that we're talking about now that you use in your classroom is a volume book. Does that mean there's a volume 1, volume 2, volume 3?
Yep.
Do you have all those volumes in your classroom?
Not all of them. I mean, we have them in our library, so
we know we're library approved.
Yes. So we can get them from the library if you want. And the kids can get them and take them out of the library.
Are there any other authors that are in the library besides Dr. Seuss that we can do this decoding process with?
I haven't really found any, honestly. Dr. Seuss is just very unique. I haven't found something that's going to have a lot of decodable words for this level for them to use besides Dr. Seuss or decodable readers for them.
If I was a parent and I walked into Barnes & Noble and I said, hey, I need a decodable reader book, would you think the Barnes & Noble would know what I was talking about?
I would think that if they knew a lot about reading, they should. But if they are, you know, a teenager looking for a job and not really into reading and just there, probably not.
I'm going to tell you that I recently met an author. I read advanced reader copies of children's books. That's the genre that I read, meaning that authors will let me have their books before they go to publication, read them and review them, send them my review. And the author that I just read the children's book a month ago, brand new, it's called Moonbeams and Rhyme Dreams. I'm reading Dr. Seuss and Jim Henson all wrapped up in one. The author is Derek Allen, Moonbeams and Rhyme Dreams. He has some of the cutest artwork. I want you to see the cover.
Oh, that's cute.
I'll have to send you the book after I read it. We're going to talk a little bit more about Dr. Seuss real quick since I have some questions.
Okay.
Do you love to, like, Dr. Seuss for you is thumbs up?
It is thumbs up. I think it also goes back to my childhood of having Dr. Seuss books and just remembering how fun they were and the illustrations and how silly they were.
So which Dr. Seuss book is your favorite Dr. Seuss book? Let's remind people about their childhoods. Oh, I wish I had Duck Feet.
Yes, that one.
Oh, my goodness. Did you write your name on that book, too?
I probably did. You know, and then Wacky Wednesday was a fun one.
Wacky Wednesday's my favorite Dr. Seuss book.
Yes, that was a good one, too.
It all began with the shoe on the wall. The shoe on the wall shouldn't be there at all. See, friends, we need Dr. Seuss in our life. Remember, everybody just needs to remember. I believe in fairies. Clap your hands. Let's let Tinkerbell live. Let's do that for Dr. Seuss. So I wish I had Duck Feet is going to be your...
Yep, and then I also like that one that was with the...
Put Me in the Zoo?
Yes, that one.
Put Me in the Zoo.
But the Duck... I wish I had Duck Feet was my favorite.
Was your favorite?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it was silly. The little boy had duck feet on him, you know, and he's splashing around and it was just silly throughout the whole thing. So it got your imagination going.
If I say Dr. Seuss, what's the first image that comes into your
Cat
brain?
in the Hat.
Interesting. So we just talked about Duck Feet is your favorite book, but when I say what's the first image that comes into your mind is Cat in the Hat. Why do you think that is?
Because he's on every book.
The little cat in the hat. You're
Yep.
right. He is on every book.
Yep.
That's very interesting. Did you enjoy that book, The Cat in the Hat?
I did. I almost think when I was younger, I thought that the Cat in the Hat was the one writing the books. it's probably because he was on all the books. So I kind of just probably put it all together like, oh, he wrote the books, all the books, you know?
Right.
And
probably the kids in the classroom think the same thing, that this cat in the hat is the writer of all these books.
yeah.
And the cat's writing them. I'll ask your kids. I want to know.
I'll ask. And it's interesting because the last reading program we have, because we had to change it every 3 years, was learning about it. There was a reading about Dr. Seuss, and the Cat in the Hat was his first character, and how he drew him and how simple it was. It was pretty neat.
What would the readers, the young readers in your classroom, find in a Dr. Seuss book that they would not have expected?
I would say the illustrations, honestly. I really think the illustrations, because they are so unique and so different. Yeah, so think of the whole franchise of the Dr. Seuss, though. I mean, that kids can relate to. Yes, they're going to, read these books, but they also can relate to they have the cartoons of the Dr. Seuss out there, too.
Do you watch those in your classroom, some of them?
Sometimes they're PBS Kids.
I like that you watch the animations, because it's just his story being retold in a digital format that the kids also understand. Let me ask you this question. When you're playing the animations or the PBS Kids, are you also putting captions on so they can read the words as they go across?
I mean, that's a good suggestion. I got to look on PBS because it's a smart board, which is a computer, which the app, you hit PBS Kids, and then you hit the icon of Cat in the Hat. And when it comes up, I'll have to look. I mean, all of them usually have CC on the bottoms, right?
Yes.
Like any movie. So I'll have to check that out because that would be a cool thing to do. Yes.
That's what I want you to do.
Yes.
That's what I want all teachers to do.
Yeah.
Every grade in the planet. Please.
Well, for that I didn't. For our reading programs, there are books in our reading programs that I do put the video on of the book of a storyteller reading it, and the book's there, and she's pointing to the words, and they can follow along. So I do that we have one book for every module, so they can not just hear me read, they can hear somebody else read.
Sure.
Because sometimes it's better, like they're sick of hearing your voice.
Because you're almost like Mom again, and they tune us out.
Yeah, so just having somebody else. And then again, also we are in that digital world. It's a screen.
Sure.
Brings their interest right in too as well. But I never thought about putting the words up for Dr. Seuss on PBS Kids, so I will have to do that.
And spread the word on that.
Because it's not, we don't do it every day.
It's their treat.
It is their treat. Like they have a reward jar, and then they fill it, and they get to vote. And if they vote for lunch in the classroom with a PBS Kids show, we do that. So
it's just one more way to sneak in learning, and they don't even know that that's happening. If students in elementary school had to survive the zombie apocalypse, how long do you think they would last?
not long. Not long.
And that's because they never had enough decoding books to help them survive, correct?
Mm-hmm. The skills they need.
The skills they need. So friends, we need these decoding books. And Toby, I'm so happy that you're able to come here and talk to us about this, because I think it's fun. It's very, very fun.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Hess. We love our educators. If you could give a donation this holiday season, give the gift of reading. Donate some books to a classroom near you. I am sitting here with the lovely Miss Gina, and thank you for welcoming the Spilled Ink and Coffee Show to record here during our tour. The cafe has been buzzing all evening with people stopping in, bringing their books, chatting with us. This is a community filled with kindness.
Miss Gina, thank you for welcoming the Spilled Ink and Coffee Show to record here on our live tour. We have been talking to some beautiful, lovely people about their books, authors on their journeys, teachers about books in their classroom, and you've given our community a warm and cozy spot. And I'm sure everybody's just as grateful as I am that you are here. So for those who haven't visited the Sherburne Inn in Sherburne, New York, how would you describe this space in 3 words?
Yeah, I would describe the Sherburne Inn as classic inviting, and cozy. I think those would be my 3 words.
Classic, inviting, and cozy. And friends, you need to come here to meet Miss Gina because she is exactly those 3 words. Tell us about who Gina is and how we came to land here in Sherburne, New York.
Yeah, I am a Detroiter, so I'm from Michigan originally. My husband and I moved to upstate New York 5 years ago because we are mushroom foragers and we really like nature and we wanted to be closer to state lands and we couldn't find that in Michigan, so we moved out here. But originally I was in the fashion industry. I wasn't in hospitality at all. When I moved out here, I needed a job and I started as a wedding planner at a wedding venue in Gilbertsville. I was driving through Sherburne one day and I saw this like gorgeous building that was just empty. And the same day, a complete stranger said, "Do you know anyone in the hospitality industry?" And I said, "I'm in the hospitality industry." And it was just at this bar in Hamilton and he said, "There's this really great building and it's in Sherburne and they're looking for someone to take it over and run it." And I was like, "Is it the one on the corner, like the big brick building?" And I had never seen this building before that day. And he was like, "Yeah, that's the Sherburne Inn." And I got the contact information for the nonprofit that purchased the building and has brought it back to life over the last 20 years. And I waited 3 months to contact them because I'm known for making really quick, rash decisions and changing my life in like a second. On New Year's Eve, I sent an email to the nonprofit because I was still thinking about this building and they didn't respond to me. And then I got really pushy because I don't like not being responded to. And I said, "Are you interested in someone actually taking care of this building or not?" And they got back to me like 24 hours later and we set up an interview 2 days after we had our initial like meeting. I was signing a lease for the building. And yeah, and then in February we opened our doors to the public and we are farm to table and we work directly with local agriculture and it's been great. It's been really lovely. And I don't know if that
It's perfect. It's something that was supposed to happen. It was meant to happen.
Yeah.
And you finally realized that. And that's why you said, "Hey,
Yeah.
do you want me to do this or don't you?"
Yeah.
Sometimes people need that little push too.
Yeah.
They really do. So now tell everybody what it is that you do here at the Sherburne Inn.
Yeah. So I'm the owner of the business. I do everything from being the barista some days to doing all of our bookkeeping and marketing and, menu planning and outreach to local businesses for catering events and planning events. I'm the event planner for everything here. I do everything. My first project upon taking over this building was to build a commercial kitchen. There has not been a commercial kitchen here for about 50 years. So we had to gut that space and build up our own kitchen. We cook about 1.5 miles away from the inn right now. So when we first started, we actually just started with dinners, cooking out of our commissary kitchen, doing long table meals, farm to table. And I thought that was going to sustain us. But just doing a meal once a week, it allows people the opportunity to kind of forget that you're there and see it as more of a novelty space. And I wanted the building to be a landmark building. So we opened up a coffee shop first. And the coffee shop allowed people to come into the space and feel comfortable and cozy and welcome. The space has always been known as a space that people come to celebrate like landmark events in their life, weddings and baby showers and bridal showers. And I didn't want that disconnect. I wanted the space to feel like an everyday space because we want to make it into an inn. And I think if you're going to go the inn route, it has to feel like home or an extension of home. And having the coffee shop here first, I think was a really good idea on our part to allow the community to reacquaint themselves with the space in a different light.
It is an excellent idea. Yeah, because now we're here every single day, like you said. And when you walk in, we walk into the coffee shop space, and it has a live fire. This is not a gas fireplace. It's not an electric fireplace.
Yeah.
I've watched you put the wood in and start this fire. It's everything that you want a cozy space to be. And then as you walk past through the coffee shop area, we come into what I'm going to say is our lounge, which will be the future greeting space of the inn portion, because the check-in desk is also in the space.
Yeah.
And then as we pass through this space, we go to the restaurant and event side, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is there another space other than that space that you can hold events? Is there a downstairs space?
Yeah, so the building, so the building's about 18,000 square feet.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's a big building.
Wow.
The floor plan, both on their, we have 4 floors. The 2 floors above us have the exact same floor print that this main floor has. And then the floor below us has pretty much an identical floor plan as well. So the downstairs we're going to be turning into a speakeasy. We'll have a wine cellar down there, and then we'll have wood-fire pizzas down there, and we'll have a space for live music and a pool table, and really have a speakeasy type vibe. The building was built in 1917, so that Art Nouveau kind of gilded era is really what I wanted the aesthetic to show. And then the rooftop here, we're going to be transforming into an event space as well, and put like a tiki bar up on the roof and allow for larger events. We currently have our glass porch, which we do events in. We've done wedding ceremonies in there. During the summertime, we hold brunches in there as well. Our back dining room and our front coffee shop area, we serve food in for Sunday brunch. So when the restaurant is open full time, they'll be dining in both of those spaces. Yeah, and then we'll have 18 guest rooms. So no events on those 2 floors, but we'll have a conference room, so kind of.
The future has a lot of bright plans, and currently you're doing a lot of wonderful things.
Yeah.
You're really putting Sherburne back on the map. From 30 years ago to now, I've seen it boom, and then I've seen the lull.
Yeah.
And it's coming back, and you're a big part of that transformation in the community for sure. Just being here and listening to everybody when they walk in and they go, oh, it's unexpected.
Yeah.
And they take that breath and then they relax. Even my mom is immune compromised, and she feels comfortable enough to come into your space and take her mask off.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing. Now your solarium outside, that's what I'm going to call it right now, your solarium. Are we doing tea parties yet? High noon
We've done
tea.
like a bridal shower tea party. The high teas are something that we get asked about quite a bit. We'll be doing like a Christmas high tea, but it won't be in there because it's much too cold there in the wintertime.
Yes.
But in the summertime, yeah, I would totally do high teas. I think that would be adorable. So.
I look forward to that. I want to put on a pretty dress. I want to put on my white gloves.
Absolutely.
I want to have high tea at noon, and it would be wonderful if Alice and the Rabbit came in, but you know,
I love it.
a little Mad
make
Hatter
it happen.
moment. I'm living for that. What is your favorite story or fun fact about the Sherburne Inn's history?
I was thinking about this. There's 2 of them that are kind of like, it kind of goes hand in hand. So March 1st, 1915, the original Sherburne house burnt down. There's been a building here since like the conception of Sherburne. There's always been an inn here. But the Sherburne house was the building that was right before the current Sherburne Inn. And that building burnt down March 1st, 1915. And there's photos of them trying to save all of the furniture that was in the building. So the whole town made like an assembly line, and they were grabbing furniture and just passing it down the street. And it was just all over Main Street is all the furniture from the inn. And it's funny because now that I've been in the space for a while and I've started to meet families and stuff, a lot of members of the community have old chairs from the inn from that fire because they had nowhere to store all of the furniture. So that furniture dispersed itself through the community and people held on to it. And some people, like, I just met a woman last week and she still has her dining room chairs are the original chairs from that building. And her grandkids sit in them now, you know, like it's just, it's so crazy. And then my second, but also kind of first favorite story is June 19th, 1917 is when our current building was opened for the first time. It was two sisters that built and owned this building, which was really rare for the time to have a woman owner.
Let alone two.
Yeah, two women. It was in their name. They did the construction. They did everything, planned the whole building. Really just like badass women. But when they had their grand opening, they had a long table meal that spanned all of Main Street, and they served food all night long. And the entire Main Street was closed off because people were dancing in the street all night.
Wow.
And that party went literally all night. And that was how they opened the space. And I just think that's so special.
Do you think you would recreate that?
Oh, I would love to.
Let's talk quick about your local agriculture that you're using. More specifically, I enjoy the roast of the beans tremendously. So tell us about the beans in our coffee.
Yeah, we exclusively use Gimme Coffee. Gimme Coffee, we decided to go with them because they are an employee-owned business. They're out of Ithaca, New York. They have great coffee. All of their beans are single origin. They shop directly with the farmers. There isn't like this weird little guy giving them their beans. I love the fact, and this is going to sound super weird, but I love the fact that I'll get an email every so often saying that the roast that I'm using, they can't supply me anymore because they pay such close attention to climate change and the things and the hardships that farmers go through with growing coffee. They have to deal with, and they, you know, have other things to offer. There's always beans somewhere that they can get access to, but you directly get to hear like what climate change is doing to like this industry and to our farmers. And so we have a really great relationship. They have the fastest shipping out of any coffee company I've ever worked with. And I've worked with quite a few. They're out of Ithaca and we get their beans literally next day when I place an order. And they're just wonderful people. They're just great to talk to. All of our equipment for our coffee shop came directly from Gimme.
Wow.
Yeah, they're wonderful partners for us. We really like them.
Well, we are all really enjoying the coffee and the roast. And believe me, I know coffee.
Yeah, it's
do.
good coffee.
It is.
It's not like too acidic either. It's like, you don't feel nauseous after drinking.
It's not acidic. It's not burnt. It's not over roasted. Yeah. And my favorite part, there's no mold. And I can sip a roast right away and let you know what the mold content is.
Interesting.
I have a mold sensitivity that's out of control. So these beans are clean.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, they're not oily. I've worked with other coffee companies where the beans were like, you felt them and they were like really oily. But there's really no oil on this. We keep our equipment pretty clean. Our baristas under strict guidelines on how to properly store our coffee and stuff, and that helps with it.
If a visitor walks in for the first time, what do you hope that they feel?
I think just like an overwhelming sense of community. I just want people to see that the space is built for them. It's not built to be a business. Someone can come in and sit down and not buy anything, and I would never say anything. Like I really just want people to enjoy the space and feel at home here and safe.
What menu item is your personal must try? And we'll do beverage and then we'll do yum yum. I know you're inventing. Anybody who's following you or watching these cool invention videos that you're doing, and one is the sticky toffee, which I am very interested in. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to ignore and everything that I personally should not put into my body for allergy reasons and take the chance because it looks so good. And I've been to Europe and I love sticky toffee pudding. So
Nice. Yeah.
But what is your favorite?
Sticky toffee pudding is definitely up there. Since we started the coffee shop, I've always only wanted like house-made syrups. We use Holy Cacao for our regular syrups. They're an organic syrup company out of Oregon. But I wanted like interesting flavors.
I've never anywhere on the planet that I've been in. I've been to a million coffee shops. I've seen sticky toffee pudding on the menu.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's a pretty popular dessert. Making it into a syrup it just came pretty naturally. One of my really good friends is a pastry chef, and he's from India, and he used to make me the best sticky toffee. And every winter, I really start to miss him, but really I miss his sticky toffee pudding. And I was thinking about him a few weeks back, and I was like, oh, I should make that into a syrup. And all it is coconut milk and dates that I rehydrate and blend, and brown sugar and salt. And there's really not much else to it. Those flavors just like cook down for a really long time, play really nicely together. And
I can have all those things.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
If there's some vanilla in there, but there's
Sure.
no like nuts or anything. That's really all that's in it, but it's delicious.
And it's made with love. That's probably really the secret ingredients, what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I make all of our syrups by myself in the dark.
In the dark. So now what's your favorite yum yum? Tell us about about chef.
Yeah, our chef is lovely. Tom Macris is his name. He's Greek, so we have a lot of Greek and Italian food that finds its way even into our coffee shop. Our quiche today was a spanakopita quiche, which is feta and spinach.
I missed it. It sold out.
It did sell out pretty quick.
Oh my goodness.
It was delicious. But my favorite things probably come from our farm partner, Henton Hill Farms. Stephanie Bitten is a local pastry chef that moved here from Chicago, and she makes some really incredible pastries for us. She makes the hand pies that are in there, and I just hired her on as our full-time pastry chef. So coming up here, we'll be getting a lot of really interesting pastries from her. She's Moroccan, so sometimes we'll get little Moroccan treats. It's it's really lovely stuff. Anything she makes is absolutely delicious. So,
and you never know what's going to be in your pastry case because each
changes.
time I've come, it's changed.
It's never
My
the
mom
same.
keeps looking for the cheese danishes. Those were her faves.
Oh yes, those are very good. Yeah,
And then
we were just making them so much. I'm like, maybe we should like take a break, but we do get asked about them.
my gosh,
We'll
can
make
people
some.
order?
Yeah,
Can we
yeah,
special
yeah,
order
yeah.
those?
Totally.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
I'm going to order those for
Anytime.
her. Okay. Do we just send you a DM on your social and be like, okay, good to know.
We just need like a 24-hour heads up. And
But what's the one that you like the most that you've had so far? What pastry do you like?
no, it's so hard.
Okay.
It changes every day.
Friends, that's just what it is.
Our
The
hand
room-
pies, I think, is probably hands down probably my favorite. I love pie though. I'm a big pie girl.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that you said it, that this building has its own personality.
Totally does.
And it sounds to me that you have entered into a beautiful and interesting relationship with the personality of this building.
Yeah.
And that it is almost, and I'm going to take this into a bookish space where this could be a beautiful story about a sentient inn in the little town of Sherburne.
Yeah.
And how it has a relationship with its caretaker, Gina.
Yeah.
So Gina, describe the personality of the Sherburne Inn when she speaks. I've given her a she.
She is a she.
Pronoun.
Definitely a she.
When she speaks to you, what does she sound like?
Yeah, so she's very multifaceted. Have you been upstairs yet?
No.
Okay, I'll show you sometime. One of the best ways to describe it is upstairs has been completely gutted because we're going to start the rooms. But behind all of the walls were different wallpapers that were original to the space. But each room that you walk past has a different wallpaper, and it's from a completely different era in time. There's 50s, 70s, 20s, like all different wallpapers. It's a complete like mirage up there. And yeah, she's just so multifaceted. Like there's so many weird things that she does, you know, like even my lamp. This lamp is original to the building. Every day there's 3 strings that you pull to turn on the light. Every day it'll be a different string that turns on the light. It's never the same string. Changes every single day. Don't know why, but it does. You know, like there's just like, it's just weird things. Even our plumbing is original. I mean, things have been switched out, but for the layout of the plumbing is original. And the plumbing actually goes all the way around the building to get out of the space. It's not just like some straight thing. So like, it's just so finicky. Like if we have too many people here, like you can tell like the plumbing, like there'll be like noises and stuff. Like it always works. But like, you're just like constantly like, what is she gonna do next? There's always something that's just doesn't make sense. I have light switches in here. I have no idea what some of these light switches go towards. And then I'll be like leaving for the night and I'll be like, where did that light come on outside? Like, I don't even know what light switch that is. And it's because I just tinker around with the light switch and it turns out it's for like the other side of the building. So, you know, it's just like you really have to like get to know her. And so it's just, yeah, she's just so quirky. She's just so
quirky.
funny.
Did you name her?
I didn't name her. I named our range that we just got Edith, because Edith was one of the original women, and that was like a really big moment for me when I got our range in the commercial kitchen. But the building itself, no, she doesn't have a name. She's just her. It's an energy. It's not something that I can really put my finger on.
So I'm going to go into a spooky space with this.
Yeah, she's spooky too.
I'm
We've
sure
had
that
murders in the building.
I'm sure that she's spooky because prior you said there was another building here. That building burned.
Yeah.
And the history from that part to now, I mean, what else happened? This is like an old town where we had horses and gunslingers, and she was here then.
She was here the whole time.
Do we know? Did anybody pass in the space?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know? Does everybody know?
I think so. There was a woman that took her life on our second floor. I don't know the reason. I don't know why. They just found her. So yeah, I mean, we had, when the building was getting renovated for the first time after they bought it, there was a construction crew, and I believe they were on the covered porch, and something spooked them so bad that they left and they said, your building is completely haunted. We cannot come back here. Like, it scared the heck out of them. They said they saw a woman. It was just too creepy for them. And these are grown-ass men that were like, we won't go back.
Wow.
So, and that's happened a couple times during the renovation process where people have been like, yeah, there's a woman in this building. Listen, I've never seen a woman in this building except for myself.
And you don't feel that energy.
There's definitely an energy, but
you don't feel one where it's going to
it's not-
spook
I'm
you.
not spooked.
Right.
No, I'm not spooked.
Right.
I'm not spooked. I find it very charming. The first time I walked in here, I was charmed, very at home instantly.
Now we're back to talking a little bit more bookish about the inn. If the Sherburne Inn were a novel, what genre would it be?
I don't know. There's not really you could, contort its history in any which way and come up with some sort of genre.
Sure, I already put it into fantasy.
It could be a fantasy.
I absolutely did.
It feels like a fever dream most days. So
that should be the genre.
fever dream.
The genre should be fever dream.
It totally is.
I like it. People
down.
were adding it
is
to
a
the
fever
genres. What future dream or project in your fever dream for the Sherburne Inn excites you the most?
I'm really excited to. Have you ever watched Gilmore Girls?
I've seen episodes, yes.
Okay. So the main character, Lorelai Gilmore, she has this inn, and it's called the Dragonfly Inn. And right before her rooms open, she does like a test run with the inn. And like all of her friends come and her family members and whatever, and they each take a room and they do like a full like night stay test run. They do dinner and everything. And that is the moment that I'm looking forward to most, is before we can open up our rooms, to have all of my friends and family and people who have supported us come and stay the first night in all of the rooms, and to know every single guest and just have a really special opening night.
It's your Gilmore Girls moment.
It is my Gilmore Girls moment, and I am so excited for that.
What book and beverage pairing best represents the Sherburne Inn?
So I went and asked a bunch of people this question to see. Every single person said The Great Gatsby, which
Interesting.
I'm not a Gatsby fan. I mean, it's like fine. If it was like a personal opinion, like reflected on me, there's a book, it's called Woodswoman by Anne LaBastille, and she was the first trail guide for the Adirondack Mountains, and she like builds her own cabin and all this stuff. Anyway, she's just like this really strong female, and I started reading that. I was given it to it by a guest here, and I started reading to it when I first started this, and it's very reflective of like the kind of like inner strength you need to build something like out of your element. And so my personal opinion is Woodswoman by Anne LaBastille, and a dirty chai latte. But according to the general public, it's The Great Gatsby. And the drink pairing, I don't know, a cortado maybe.
So what would your guests find here at the Sherburne Inn that they would not expect?
I think when you walk into the building, just the visuals are really unexpected. I don't think there's anything close by that really resembles it. Bye, my friend. Thank you. Have a good night. Yeah, I think that the nonprofit that did a lot of the restoration here did a really good job of keeping it elegant and clean and period specific. Yeah, and I get that a lot of when people first walk through the doors. They're like always asking, is the bar original? You know, is the mantle original? And a lot of the stuff is all original, which is great. But it's just, it's so unique and like kind of Art Deco-y too. And the fact that they were able to kind of toe that line and hang on to those things is pretty cool.
So at night or in the afternoon, when you're leaving and you close the door, what's the final thing that she says to you as you're leaving for the day?
Lock the door.
It's the best
I don't know if
ending
you can see
ever. Like, how do you, there's no other way I can end this interview. Just want to say thank you, Miss Gina, for letting me come here and talk to you and talk to people. And it's magical. It really is magical.
Thanks.
You've really created a very special place in the middle of a town that needs to be woken back up because it's been sleeping too long. And I think that you're starting to wake it back up.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Thank you for joining us during our live tour episode from the Sherburne Inn in Sherburne, New York. Make sure you stop, stay a while, talk to Gina, get something to eat, drink, and be merry. Rachel and I are packing up our books, our coffee, and our microphones because we're coming to a city near you, across the country and around the world. Until next time, happy holidays from all of us at the Spilled Ink and Coffee Show.